Where's my? I can't find it. Oh
Yo,
snap! And we're live. Here we go.
yeah, we're
Shit.
live. Let's go. Come on, host.
My bad, my bad. You used to starting, so I'm not used to starting like this. Welcome everybody to Cowboys Nation Players Choice. It is 9:02 p.m. On October 24th, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been out of it for a couple weeks. So, what episode are we on?
We're on episode 9.
We're on episode 9, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing great. 24 hours ago, I
We
was at
good.
Disney. I was at Disney Hollywood Studios. 24 hours later, I'm with you guys, so I can't complain.
That's a beautiful deal. What's up, Kyle? How you been?
I'm doing all right, fellas. It's been a while. But it's good to be back with y'all. Yeah, man, we're good. And shout out to Disney World. It's a great place, happiest place in the world. Glad you're having some good time down there, Chris. Or I had some good time. So enjoy that vacation.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
Oh, the big fella. Where'd you
You
go?
weren't.
And just as I was about to say, there we go. Here he come, and he's back,
Cool.
and the big fella, the big show himself.
Well, it's a big show. It's a big bad show tonight.
Sir, how are you doing, man?
What's up, fellas? What's up, man? Hey, man, just trying to make it after this bye week. You know, it's whenever the Cowboys have a bye week, man, it's a long 10 days, 10 to 12 days before they play again. So as long as the Rangers keep doing what they do, you know, we got an entrance, you know. I know these two guys that's in Philadelphia and Arizona Diamondback fans over there sweating their cojones off. But hey, we already here, so you know
we already punched our ticket.
Here, so.
You know, the
We are
Diamondbacks are going to win. So, I mean,
Oh man, you were saying that since before the game started.
look, there's this thing called a gut feeling.
Hey, the Diamondbacks are gonna win. I'm like, is it over already? He's like,
There's this
no,
thing
it's the
called
first
a gut
inning. They
feeling.
got 2 guys on. I'm like, they haven't even scored a run. You telling me it's over? Crazy.
We still got a lot of game left. So
There's a ton of game left.
It's
Shoot,
a
it
gut
was
feeling.
8-2 or 8-4 against Houston. I was like, this game ain't over yet. It
You
ain't
know, it's
over
funny.
yet.
I don't want to spend too much time on the baseball because we got football to talk about. I think if the Diamondbacks win this series, it'll probably be like the most drastic run differential in a series that a team lost.
Do you think they'll actually fill their stadium now? Since if they make it, I mean, if they make it, will they actually fill the stadium, or is it just gonna be a
we've
bunch
been
of
filling
Rangers
it up
fans in
since
Arizona?
playoffs. We've been filling it up. It's a big stadium. So
All right,
It's
let's
hard
go.
to
Let's
fill
talk
it.
about football, guys.
I bet. All right. So let's get
talk about
into it. Let's talk about the NBA.
All right,
Honestly, man,
let's go. Let's talk
I got my list of topics from Cowboys Beat, but I wasn't here last week, and if we didn't touch on that Chargers game, I wouldn't be justice, just because I have to talk about it just a little bit, just because I did come away with that game with some concerns, but I haven't caught what y'all's opinions of it was, so I'd like to hear it. I mean, just nothing too long. I don't want to harp on it. Obviously, it's in the past at this point. We won the game, so it's nothing too crazy, but I'd like to feel I want the temperature in the room. What do you I want to know if y'all are feeling the same way I'm feeling and just kind of where we're at, and we'll lead into these topics. But Beat, start us off, baby. What did you think about the game? How did you feel about the Chargers game by the time it was done?
Here's the thing, right? One thing that I want people to take into consideration from that game was that the Chargers were coming off a bye, right? And the Cowboys were coming off a game versus the San Francisco 49ers. You know, leading up to that point, when teams played against the San Francisco 49ers, there was something like 1-18 coming out of those games, and you were facing a team coming off a bye. So, you know, we do have to take that into consideration. That is one thing to take into consideration. But yeah, there are absolutely concerns coming out of that game. To me, the offensive line that I thought if they got fully healthy, they could be one of the best, if not the best units in football. Underwhelmed big time in that game. You know, Dak was running for his life back there. They couldn't block things up when it came to them running the football. So those were some things that I took note of that I was very concerned about. Defensively, to me, if they can clean up these penalties, I like where they're at from a defensive side, the defensive side of things. You talk about their run defense, something that's been such a crutch for them for the past few seasons. It looks like the Cowboys are much improved in that aspect from last season. If you were to tell me before the season we were to hold Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, and what's it called? What's his name? Austin Eckler to under 70 yards, I think that'd be good. Is there something wrong with my audio?
I think you got dictation on your phone or something.
What's dictation?
Like where it types out what you say, or like that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a typewriter. That's what I'm hearing right now. Anybody else hearing that?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
But yeah, if you were to tell me too. But
if you were to tell me that in those games we held McCaffrey, Barkley, and Eckler to under 70 yards, those games, I would say much improved from our run defense. So that's something that I took away as a positive from that game. But I think the penalties are big, and this is just something that's a part of the Cowboys' identity, guys. 2021 they were first in the league in penalties. 2022 they were third in the league in penalties. I think right now they're number one in the league in penalties. This is just what this team is right now, and unfortunately the Cowboys have to work around that.
Kyle, what you got?
Hey man, we just got the win. At this point, that's just what they needed. They needed a win to bounce back after that demoralizing loss against San Francisco. My major concerns is that offense. The play call is suspect. And I just feel like it's not putting Dak in the best rhythm. And Chris touched on it, but that offensive line has been very underwhelming. Having the 5 offensive starters back, the offensive line starters back, and to be playing like that, it was just disappointing. Hopefully it's something they can build on and get better. I'm not going to harp on it too bad just because it is a game in October. If they played like this in December, yeah, there would be a lot to talk about. But, I'm glad they got the win, and I'm glad we get to go into the bye week that way. And now we get to take on the Rams. So,
and just something to think about. And go ahead and Google me if you'd like. But I'm telling you right now, teams that are headed into the bye cover almost 66% of the time. The game goes under almost 66% of the time also. And test my theory, we got 4 good ones coming up this week. Even Denver, believe it or not. We'll revisit that next week. But either way,
Denver didn't catch any strays this week.
Hey, it is what it is. All I got to that's a big number for the Kansas City Chiefs to cover, but we're not talking about them right now. We're just going to get into what we've got here. This whole thing, me being at that game, seeing it up close, live and in person, and then feeling the energy in that game, I'm telling you right now, I feel like there were so many missed opportunities, and we keep harping on this defense, but this defense held that offense to 7 points in that first half. This defense stopped them. The only reason we're not talking about splash plays and defense is because there was no turnover. Like, there was no big time turnover in the game. There was no points on defense.
There was?
Well, in the beginning, in the first half, in the first half, there was nothing huge on defense. They were just straight up stopping them. It was just 3 and outs, and then like medium drives, and then stoppage punts. They scored 7 points off that first drive where they started on a short field. They only had to go 40 yards. Then, they scored at will, but they did nothing after that in the first half. And our offense was just stale. 1 drive. We finally pulled that thing. You got the field goal out out before the half, and it's like, bro, where's the run game? That's really where I'm at. Where's the run? We averaged 2 yards on the ground from Tony Pollard. Like, what happened to I'm going to run the football? What happened to that? Where did it go? Because this offense, man, and with Dak, he had a good game. I can't take anything away from the game. He's averaging 9 yards a pass, 277 on the day, touchdown on the ground, touchdown in the air. Finally got Brandon Cooks involved in a ball game. Like, he had a decent day.
One of the main reasons on that game.
Yes, absolutely.
I thought he had a really
clean day out of Dak Prescott. Clean day out of Dak Prescott. But we were 3 of 13 on third down. Like, that's not good. That's not good when what we're getting out of the play calling, out of the system, out of everything. And I mean, if you're down in distance, it's on Dak. And if you're going 3 for 5 for 13, 5 for 13 on third down, that's terrible. And that's not going to work against really good teams.
Okay. But here's the thing, right? This was a game where the run game was pretty much ineffective. Like
non-existent. Our leading rusher was Dak Prescott. When was the last time that happened?
But the thing is, if we're talking about third down conversions, you have to understand that a lot of these third downs that they're asking him to convert are like 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, sometimes 3rd and 10 plus. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought Dak had a really damn good football game. And I thought that the passing game was much improved from the 49ers game. You saw they were actually running legitimate concepts, high-low to bait that linebacker into making a certain
decision.
Took
shots down the field, which was nice.
Yeah, they took shots down the field. There was actual purpose within their passing game concepts, something that we didn't see against San Francisco. I thought that the passing attack was much improved from the week prior. Here's the thing, though. Dak was under pressure all game long. All game they were in that backfield because the offensive line was struggling so much. And I don't think it's one of those things where, there's a lot of Cowboys fans making excuses for this offensive line saying, it's a continuity-based position. Let's wait till they get continuity.
Now, was it all the offensive line, or was Dak trying to do too much? Was Dak scrambling into sacks? Or was it that?
Out of sacks, though.
What? Of course he scrambled out of something. But, bro, there was literally on the opening drive, we go 3 and out. He literally rolled into the defender instead of either hitting Ferguson on the hitch or working his way up into the pocket or working his way right. He had space, but he literally spun into Khalil Mack. Spun right into him. Yeah, Tyron Smith got beat on the play, but he spun right into his ass. Like, he could have stepped up.
Pocket presence has never been one of Dak's strongest suits.
What? Pocket presence has never been. I think that he has some of the better pocket presence.
I mean, I think it's really a cop-out to blame this offense in its entirety for the lackluster that you're getting from this pass game, because he was under pressure, but guess what? This is still one of the better O-lines in the league. And to be completely honest, he had time at times, and he was literally running into sacks at times. You're going to tell me he wasn't? You're going to tell me that just didn't happen?
Sacks too.
Of course he was. I'm not saying he wasn't, but I'm saying, was he doing too much? You're giving him all this credit, and it's like, I get it. He had a decent game. He had a good game. But you know what? We needed the touchdown at the end of that game with 2 minutes left on the clock. We didn't get it. We got a field goal.
No, we didn't.
Our offense didn't produce when it had to. And guess what? When you're a top 5, top 3 paid quarterback in this league, sometimes things aren't going to be perfect for you.
Not a top 3 or 5 paid quarterback in the league, though.
Chris, he was the top guy when he was paid, bro. Just because other people have been paid since then doesn't mean that Dak Prescott, it's not like Dak Prescott got a Daniel Jones contract when he got his contract.
But that
where he got somebody else's money from last year. No, he got a long-term, like he's going to be like a huge part of this offense, huge cap hit. But you're acting like this offensive line was just terrible, and that Dak is just carrying us when that's just not true. A lot of times, man, bro, how many times did he scramble and lose yardage? And it was like, bro, just throw the ball away. Throw the ball away. You're doing too much.
You think the offensive line played well last week?
Bro, our offensive line is a top O-line in this league. It's top 10.
And it didn't play like it.
It didn't, bro. They did their job last week. How many sacks did we allow last week?
5 sacks.
Minus the one he ran himself into.
Are you trying to tell? Hold up. When this team is averaging, how many yards per carry did they average?
What's going on?
3 yards per carry or something like that, maybe even less than that. You're trying to run.
The first thing out of my mouth was we have a non-existent run game. That was the first thing out of my mouth. Was the run game was non-existent. But you're blaming the defense and you're blaming the O-line and you're acting like Dak Prescott was the only reason we won this game. And the fact of the matter is your defense gave you opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity in the first half, and you didn't do anything with it. And then you left the game. You left the game wide open in the end. You left the game wide open. With 2 minutes left, you couldn't score to save your life. Is it all on Dak? No, I'm not saying that it is, but you're giving him all the credit like he's the only reason we won, and that's just absolutely not true.
Hold up. I said when we were talking about concerns about this team going forward, I said that I think that the defense is playing really good football, but the penalties are going to be an issue for this team going forward. The defense played really good football. You talk about Dak not throwing that touchdown at the end of the game, and my retort to you is this. If this defense is what everybody says it is, you should be good with the field goal and take your chances on your defense coming up with a stop, which is what they did. You said that Dak was a top 3 paid quarterback. I don't even know if he's a top 10 paid quarterback at the moment. You can talk about what he signed for 4 years ago, but that doesn't mean
stop it. Are you being serious right now? Like, do I really need to Google it? Because you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Dak is going to get $60 million next year.
He's going.
What are you talking about?
You're saying what he's going.
Real quick, because we finally got the big fella back, and I want to hear about his thoughts on the game. What'd you think about the game, big fella? Shut your ass down, sir. Tell me about the game, big fella. Tell me about the game, big fella. Tell me about the game, big fella. Tell me about it.
Cowboy on cowboy blood, Chris. Stop him.
It's that Phillies hat. I can't stand that bullshit Philly hat he got on, you mother lover. You take that bullshit off. My Rangers about to whoop your ass. We 4 games away from a series. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris. Tell me what you thought about the Chargers game.
Well, first of all, I'm glad to join the show again. This is going to be the last week with this poor internet connection I got in this Airbnb, so I apologize for that. Cal, it's so great to see you, man. Glad that you could join the show. And once again, we got the 2 firecrackers lighting at the same damn time with 2 different Cowboy opinions, which is beautiful. Okay, I absolutely love it. It's wonderful that I don't have to explode on people anymore because Rue and Chris will do it for each other. So it's cool. But my takeaways of the game against the Chargers was this, going into the game was my linebacker play. I was so concerned about how the linebackers were going to play in the game, and they actually showed up and were very aggressive and making big plays. So I was excited about that. The offense, we all know, man, we got plenty of work to do. We just can't just rest on our laurels. Hey, we won the game. We got work to do. Because we got to get the ball in the end zone, period. I don't care who it's against. If it's the worst team in the NFL or it's the best team in the NFL, we got to get that in the end zone. And to me, all that blame and responsibility lies on 2 people. That's Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. They got to get on the same page. They got to move the damn ball, and we got to win the games. That's what we got to do. I'm so glad that we won the game that Cal said that we were going to lose. So I was excited. He said we was going to lose the Niners. We did, and he picked the Chargers again. And I was like, man, what the hell is going on around here? I thought we were all Cowboy fans, but apparently not. But I'm glad we won the damn game. I was excited about it. So that was my thoughts of the game.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Right.
I tell you that. I'm an unbiased and realistic Cowboys fan. You're right. I was wrong. I thought, I think the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys had lacked mental toughness, but they completely proved that. It was an ugly game, but they found a way to win against the Chargers. But I did warn you about that 49ers game. I know I haven't been here 2 weeks, but I did warn y'all. I told you George Kittle was going to have a big day. I told y'all.
And he did.
I told you. But we'll get him in the playoffs. Don't worry about that. We'll get him in the playoffs. Don't you worry about that.
Especially after
that's
this
what you want to wait for.
If we're going to get into the 49ers, Brock Purdy's had a rough couple weeks, man.
All right, yeah,
rough couple weeks.
But let's get into. We don't need to get into him. I just brought up Cal's prediction the last week because I pay attention. I listen to his YouTube. I listen to his TikToks. Hell, if he had Instagram and spam and whatever else he had, I listen to it. I'm a true fan of his. And I was just like, oh my God, he picked us to lose twice.
That's a rough one, but I couldn't see us losing to Kellen Moore, man. I just ain't no damn way we were gonna lose to Kellen damn Moore. But now that we're into it, And now that we're at that just past the quarter mark, we're getting into December, and we're starting to see what teams are really made of through these first 7 weeks. Where are we at in terms of where we see ourselves in the NFC? Because that's what we have to concern ourselves with. So let's forget about the AFC. Where do we see where we're at in terms of the competition that's in the AFC and the NFC? Kyle, what you think?
49ers, Eagles, Lions, Cowboys.
Hold up, you're gonna say
now I see where I got your point, but now you're gonna explain. Now you got to explain yourself because we just saw the Lions get their ass beat by Baltimore.
All those teams are physical, and yes, Detroit had that outlier, getting whipped by Baltimore at Baltimore. But all those teams are physical, and that's not something I've seen from the Cowboys yet. Until I see them be more physical, win on the road more often, do it consistently, I'm going with those other teams. I just think they're more physical. They're built better. I think they got a tough culture. They're led by some good coaches.
Okay.
Now, of course, it's October. It's a lot of it can change, but that's where I'm at week 8, going into week 8.
All right. Let me
Chris,
ask you
what you got? Go ahead. I see you about to explode over there.
Let me ask
It's
you.
only week 8. It's only week 8.
I got you with the Lions though. Who exactly have they beat? I know they beat the Chiefs.
They beat Kansas City week 1
without Kelsey and Chris Jones.
With no one thought they would still dogs in the game. Nobody thought they were going to win.
Yeah, but I mean, ever since then, what the
They won.
Seahawks lost to them. Yeah, but then they let up 37 to Seattle, and then they let up 40 to Baltimore. I think that team has some legitimate weaknesses. So do we. So I'm not saying that we don't. But all right, here's the thing, right? This is how I wanted to answer this question. How do the Cowboys climb the ladder in the NFC? To me, the way you do it, you got to go into Philadelphia, which for most teams is a tall task.
Yeah.
For the Cowboys, it's a familiar
taller task.
We know this.
No, I don't think it's a taller task for the Cowboys than most teams because they've won in Philadelphia. Dak's won in Philadelphia before. They understand that crowd. They understand the hostility. They know what to expect when they walk in through those doors. That's the biggest part about playing Philly. And the way you beat Philly, the Philadelphia Eagles this year, you got to stay up on down and distance. You can't be intimidated by the talent on that team. Far too many times you see teams just go in there and it looks like mentally they lost that game before they even go in there. But then when they realize, oh, wait, we can throw against their secondary, their corners aren't as good as we think they are, then teams start having success against them. I mean, we see this all the time. Even going back to last year when we talked about, well, for some reason, they're not really having success in the second half of these games. Why is that? Because teams understand, they're good, but they're human. They got a lot of talent, but we can move the ball on them. And I think, the way Dallas approaches that Philly game, Israel McQuammen was talking to West Coast Cowboy and a few other guys. I forget who he had on that stream, but he said the most disappointing part about losing to the 49ers was that we could have played the Eagles next, and we felt great about that matchup. And this is a team that feels like they can beat the Eagles. This isn't a 49ers situation where they go in there and the 49ers have that mental edge over them because they beat them, now going on 3 times. This isn't that. So you go into Philly, you beat them, you play the Seahawks, you play the Lions later in the season. You got to win 2 of those 3 games. At least 2 of those 3 games if you want to continue to climb the ladder into being one of the top teams in the league. So I think from a roster standpoint, I think they have to make a move at the trade deadline. It doesn't have to be Devontae Adams. No, it doesn't have to be Devontae Adams. It can be a Hunter Renfrow. I think that you could put him on this team and you're a better football team. It could be a Zach Ertz. It could be cornerback depth. They have to improve this roster somehow. whether it's a slight improvement or whether it's a big improvement. I think Rashaan Evans is going to be big for this team. Signing him is going to be big for this team. And then to me, it comes down to scheme as well. They got to make some adjustments with their scheme as well. I liked some of the stuff that they were doing in their passing attack against the Chargers. I think some of their concepts were way better than what you saw against the 49ers. But now it's about, okay, how do we run the ball more effectively? And if they can start running the ball more effectively, that's going to open things up for the passing attack. And I think that you're just going to see a better offense overall. Big fella, I give it to you.
Hell, I forgot the question.
So real quick.
Give me the question.
Where and I'm going to rephrase it. And Kyle, I'm going to let you rebut to this too, just because I'm going to rephrase this question. My question was, where do you see us right now in terms of where we rank amongst the NFC teams?
Okay.
And how do we get to where we're trying to get to, like Chris answered here?
Okay. Now, I agree everything that Cal said. The ratings of the teams that he had, I believe we're under all of those teams. Okay. Now, how I think we should get to the top spot is very simple. Is basically when you get punched in the mouth, are you going to punch back? That's basically it. Because on our first test of a heavyweight, we got punched in the mouth and knocked out. Okay, so when we have our second test against the Eagles, are we going to punch back? When we have our third test, when we actually play the Lions this year, are we going to actually punch them in the mouth? And, are we going to protect ourselves? Are we going to be physical like Kyle said? Okay. Do we need to bring in people like Chris said? It's a combination of everything. I actually agree with both of them, okay? It's things, you need to do to improve your team. A lot of times, Jerry, lately, he's been sitting back and playing catcher instead of being on attack mode at all times, because that's what we loved about Jerry when he first got here. He was the gunslinger. Now he's not the gunslinger. Now he's the sheriff. He's trying to make law and order in this. We don't need law and order. We need chaos. We need the old Cowboys back. Okay, we need the White House back. Bring it back. Do something so we can get this aggressiveness back. For the Cowboys. That's what we expect, man. As Cowboy fans, we expect to have a good team and have greatness. Okay, because the narrative, we always say this is our year. I mean, but a couple of these times it has been our year. But it's just been pieces of maybe coaching or players that we've missed to get us over the top. Last year, I think it was just strictly coaching and situational football, the reason why we didn't beat the Niners and then the year before that. So I think we've corrected that, but then our offense have digressed, okay? So we need to get it all together at one point, and I think we could get there, man. I'm not losing hope that we can't do it. I believe we can. I said, but everybody has to be on the same page, from the front office to the coaching staff to the players, and I think we can get there.
I want to add one more thing. To me, Mike McCarthy, I understand it's a new system and they're, getting themselves acclimated. I understand that. And that is a real thing. That's a real thing. So that I'm not going to undermine that. This offense better not look like this by the end of the season, though. Because if they do, he's going to be under a big-time microscope. Because this is a more talented offense than they had last year. Just is. You add Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup 1 year removed from that ACL, Jalen Tolbert's playing better. This offense looks like this by the end of the season. I'm going to start calling for Mike McCarthy's job, which is something that I haven't done yet. But this is a more talented roster than you had last year. And the quarterback's not going anywhere, guys. I want you guys to understand this. People in the chat, the people that I'm talking to right now, this quarterback isn't going anywhere. They're going to sign him to a 5-6 year contract by the end of the season, and he's going to remain the quarterback of this football team. It's just the way it's going to go. But the thing is, if Mike McCarthy's not the guy, you can find another head coach. There's plenty of them out there. Ben Johnson from Detroit is a guy, to me, making some noise. You can't find another quarterback at the current moment that puts you in as good of a situation as Dak Prescott does. So I just want to put that out there. A lot of this does have to do, so far, offensive the way the offense looks, a lot of it has to do with the coaching staff as well.
Kyle, how do we get there?
I think obviously that Philly game is going to be really big, and I think that's another place to measure ourselves. Season's not over, obviously. We're sitting at 4-2. We're in a good place. But if you want to take that next step, you got to take down the contenders, and the Eagles are one of them. Would they be the top team in the NFC? Maybe, but you win in Philadelphia. Now, I don't think winning in Philadelphia is as easy. Well, not as simple as maybe Cowboys beat put it. If you look at the Cowboys team, last season, they were at 500 on the road. They went 4-4. Now, if you include the playoffs, they were 5-5 because they won in Tampa Bay and they lost in San Francisco. This year, they're on track to hit that 500 on the road, which basically means you still don't know which team to expect on the road. If you are a true contender and if you are a team with championship aspirations, you have to replicate the success that you have at home and take it on the road, especially in hostile environments in Philadelphia and other places that we're going to be playing this season. I have yet to still see that from this Cowboys team. So that's one of the biggest things for me is if they can get on a winning streak and win a couple of road games that aren't inside, because you talk about that road game in Los Angeles. I mean, come on, that's SoFi Stadium. That's AT&T West. That's inside of a nice, cozy stadium.
That was home field for us. That was a straight up home field for us.
I'm talking about going into Buffalo. I'm talking about going into Philadelphia. I'm talking about maybe even going into Washington, FedEx Field. That hasn't been an easy place for us to win in the past few years. Winning in those environments is very important. I wouldn't say it's significant, but it's important to build that championship DNA. And that's still one of the things I'm holding out to see in this team.
Real quick, Chris, go ahead and defend yourself real fast. Just explain to them why you have that Philly hat on.
Oh, I'm from the area.
You caught
From the area.
Just real quick, because everybody's confused why you got that bullshit on your head. I'm just kidding. I ain't got no animosity to the Phillies. I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, we do have animosity towards Philly, but just not the baseball team, the football team.
Exactly. The Phillies. I ain't got no beef with the Phillies.
What I will say,
at least not yet.
What I will say is this. I'm not saying it's not easy to go on the road and beat anybody. What I'm saying is this team does not, like a lot of teams when they go into Philly, they're not used to that environment because it's so different from everything else. What I mean is the Cowboys know what to expect from the Philadelphia crowd. That's a big factor of playing in Philly. They're comfortable playing in that stadium, just like they're comfortable playing in New York, just like they're comfortable playing in, Washington. These are familiar places. And what I'm saying is, like you heard on Fred Warner's podcast, his wife was talking about Philly fans and how nasty Philly fans are. That's nothing new. That's been happening for decades now at this point. But, they were shocked about it. She was shocked about it. Fred Warner was shocked about it. They didn't know that Philly was that crazy. This team is not like that. This team understands, like, we go into this place. This is a different place than going into Arizona or going into LA in a cozy dome. That's all I meant by that.
And now, real quick.
Can I say this though? Can I say this real quick, Rue? I think the schedule makers did us a favor this year because we are going to see how tough we are on the road. We still got to play Miami on the road. We got to play Buffalo on the road. We got to play Philly on the road. And we got to play Washington on the road. Okay? So this is going to tell you how tough the Cowboys are. You're going to find out real quick. Okay? Because we got some hell of a road games coming up. I'm still like, man, that Miami game in Miami is going to be tough. I'm not really concerned as I was in the beginning of the season about the Buffalo game because their offense is like our offense now. It's very unpredictable. Okay, but we know that Philly game is going to be a dogfight, and the Commanders always going to get up for the Cowboys because, hey, DC stand for Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys take over that stadium every time. So it's like SoFi East. So, but you got to go in there and you really got to go in there and you got to play. You got to play some real good ball, man. We let Sam Howell beat us last year. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, you took him lightly. Don't take anybody in NFL lightly. Just like we proved in Arizona, we took we took Josh Dobbs lightly, and he put almost 300 yards on our ass. So, we just got to go out there, man, play good football wherever we play. In AT&T, in Washington, in Orchard Park, in Miami, we got to play because we had our first big road test, and we got punched in the mouth.
Facts.
I just wanted to get on to where we are in the rankings. And I've been kind of tossing it around because I like Kyle's list. I'm not going to lie. Kyle's list was kind of spot on for me.
I can't put the Lions over the Cowboys. I'm not doing
I'll tell
that.
you this. B, if we're really going to look at what the Lions have done, how different is it from what we've done?
Yeah.
Tell me how different it is, honestly, because they got blown out by the Ravens, who are a top team in this league, just like the Niners are a top team in this league. And guess what? We basically showed out just like they showed out in that game. If we're going to be honest with ourselves, our big win right now is against who? Really?
The Jets,
the Jets, the Chargers.
Jets.
That's our big win because these guys beat the Chiefs when nobody thought they would. And I know Kelsey wasn't there, and I know Jones wasn't there. Like, I
that's
get all
not
that.
a small thing.
But, and here's the thing. I was going to finish what I was.
Arrowhead.
They lose that game.
My tough thing on that is because when I got to think about December, because I understand we're in week 8, and if we're going to just stick to these first 8 weeks, yeah, you make a valid point. But when I look at these teams and how they're built for December, I trust my defense more than theirs.
Yeah,
a lot more than theirs actually.
And that's
I definitely trust even without Diggs. I trust my defense more than theirs. I trust my defensive play caller more than theirs also. What I don't trust is my offense's ability to put up over 35 points right now. That's what I don't trust. That's the difficulty that I have. What I don't trust is my team's ability to consistently and effectively run the football. That's what I don't trust right now. That's a difficult thing that I'm having to face right now. But aside from that, if we're looking at those other two, Philly is a divisional opponent. And when you're looking at divisional opponents in this league, we know each other back and forth. There's nothing to hide. We know everything that we have to see. And for me, the biggest thing to harp on is what Chris talked about, or what Cowboys Beat talked about. Down in distance. That is going to be the biggest thing with Philadelphia. Because if they get into 4th and 1, 4th and inches, just consider it a conversion. Just consider it a damn conversion. Twice Miami's burned me now. Thanks a lot, Dix. It's one of those situations where it's like, man, these guys get into a short down in distance, they are converting. When your quarterback squats 600 pounds, he might not be the best passer in the world, but damn it, he can run 1 yard better than anybody else I've ever freaking seen. It is ridiculous what he is able to do from under center on a short down like that. And on 4th down, consistently, like over and over again, to the point where it's like you're just demoralized as a defense because you just cannot stop it. There's nothing you can do. And what's worse is you can't replicate it. That's what's worse, is that you can't do the exact same thing they just did. It's hard. It's not as consistently as they're doing it. Nobody's doing it like that. And I have to give them that. But when it comes down to it, how do we get there? I feel like these guys got to go get a receiver, man. It just has to happen. It has to happen. And I agree with Beat. Like, it doesn't have to be Devontae Adams. I would really like it to be Devontae Adams, but it doesn't have to be him. It doesn't have to be him. And really, man, maybe we need to start looking at running back, as bad as this may be. And I'm not saying that this is a call for Zeke, because Zeke is done. You're seeing that in New England. You needed to replace him regardless of what was going on. But, man, we need some bigger bodies on this line or something, because we're not getting the production out of our run game that we have been getting in the past. It's like Tony is as great as he is on explosions and big playability. Where's the consistent level of this run game? It is like it has disappeared from this offense.
You want to know what one thing? You want to go, Chris?
Well, yeah,
Hey,
real quick,
guys.
All right,
Thanks for
Kyle.
having me on. See you guys next week.
Be good, bro.
All right.
Right. The thing that bothers me so much is the creativity in the run game. I literally just sit there and I know we're gonna run a gap. Okay. Tony Pollard is not a gap runner, man. The creativity, it just sucks. I mean, I can tell why whichever formation they're in, what they're gonna run. You know, and if I can do that from not a professional coach, just a super fan, if I can tell what you're going to do, don't you think the professionals know what you're going to do? So I think it's hurting Tony Pollard more than anybody. Tony Pollard's not an A-gap runner. He's definitely off tackle runner, you know, pitches and sweeps and stuff like that. So it makes it seem like his ability has decreased, which it hasn't. He's just doing things that Zeke did last year, but it's not meant for him. So, you know, the Cowboys.
That is true.
Cowboys,
that is damn true.
Cowboys have the pieces to run A-gap. They just won't use them. Poor Lipke. Why did you even get him if you won't even run the kid, you know, with that power? And then I was like, okay, I know our other backs, they run hard, but they still lighten the pants. If you under 200 pounds in the NFL, you're not going to run in no A-gap. You can't do it.
Rico Dowdle.
I don't care who you are.
Rico
is Barry Sanders, and Barry Sanders going to juke you out your draws, but there's no more Barry Sanders in the league. So it's the creativity. The coaches have to come up with a different run scheme, and I think we'd be more successful.
Hey, and that's my thing, right? What you know, when I hear people talking about let's trade for a running back, how about, you know, Jerry Jones says to Mike McCarthy, you have a perfectly fine stable of running backs. Power, Dowdle, Lipke. These are Deuce Vaughn.
He does.
You have every style of runner you want. You have, you know, I think even though Tony Pollard isn't a primary A-gap runner, he can run through A-gap. He can run on the creases. He is an all-around running back, okay? You have that in your disposal. You have a power back in Hunter Lipke. You have, you know, a really physical runner in Rico Dowdle, who is kind of like Tony Pollard in a way where he's more all around, even though where I think Pollard is all around in the sense of his strength is when he attacks the edges. Rico Dowdle's strength is when he's running through A-gap and being a physical downhill runner. That's where his strength is. You have Hunter Lipke. He's a powerful runner. You have Deuce Vaughn. He's a guy that can attack the edges and get out in space and run. You have every type of running back on this roster. Use them. And if you don't want to use them, give the play calling to Brian Schottenheimer, somebody who I think would do a better job calling plays with this crappy running scheme that they have. And my thing is this. If you were going to run this way, which is a power running scheme, that's what this is. Why bother drafting Luke Schoonmaker in the second round? Draft Osiris Torrance, who is a offensive lineman who was supposed to be, or is a guy who fits in a power running scheme.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the problem I have. You have the horses on your team at running back. Use them.
All right, real quick, because we got two more things, and I want to get to both of them if we can. So real quick, I know all of us at the beginning of the season, I know, and I'll say this for myself, Super Bowl was my expectation. That was my expectation going into this season. Fully expected us to win the NFC. Fully expected us to win the NFC East. As we stand here today, at 4-2, heading into the week against the Rams, and then eventually the Philadelphia Eagles after that. What are your expectations today from this team going forward? What do you think we're going to be doing? Chris, I'll start with you.
Two Chris's.
Big fella, I'll start with you.
All right. My expectations, man, really hadn't changed, Rue, because to me it's still early. It's week 8. We played, you know, 6 games. We still don't know what the team is. To me, the season don't start until after week 4. We played 2 games after week 4, and we're 1-1. Okay, we really need to figure it out right now. I mean, because once you get into December, that's when the stretch run comes. Okay, and that's when we have those road games. Okay, and that's going to really tell you a lot about the Cowboys. My expectations of the Cowboys haven't changed. You know, I'm more frustrated because we were promised a bill of goods, and we seem like we're not getting what we were promised. You know, when you go out and get Cooks to be more explosive on the offense, and you barely get him the ball anymore. And we get rid of Zeke because we're going to be more explosive at the running back, and it's just like it's disappeared. And we're going to be the Texas Coast offense, and we're going to get the ball out quick and everything. But getting the ball out quick is just 5-yard passes to me. I don't want that. I want the explosiveness. And then also, I'm not going to let Dan Quinn off the hook. I need my defensive coordinator to show up in big games also. Okay, I need that from him. I don't need my defense to go and pull an Arizona and go pull a Niner game. I need them to be the best defense in the NFL every freaking Sunday. That's what I need. I need Michael Parsons to get off a damn podcast and make sacks. That's what I need him to do.
Facts.
I need my okay, we know Stephon is not there anymore. Okay, but I need my secondary to step up, man, make big plays like we know you can. That's what I need, and that's what I expect.
And I'm gonna go real quick so you can close us out with that one beat. But I for me, man, I just feel like I don't want to get ahead of myself. I still feel like this team is a Super Bowl caliber team because of the state of the NFC. I really believe that there isn't a team that just is leaps and bounds better than us. I know what San Francisco did to us, but 17 games is a very long time. Yeah. And Brock Purdy starting to make mistakes, and that offense is starting to kind of get figured out, and they're slowly not looking like what they were looking like for the last 12 weeks or whatever it's been. But all that being said, they're still 40-10. Like, I got to eat that, and I will gladly, because if you can do that to me in, I guess, what was it, October? Better than in January. Better than then. I'd rather have it early than have it late. And I feel like this team still has the ability to kind of get going. I still have to keep this shred of doubt in my mind that we still haven't seen this offense yet, man, because I refuse to believe that this team got worse. I refuse to believe that. There's no way that we're worse than we were last year. It's impossible. Just like Chris said earlier in the show, or like Beat said earlier in the show, there's zero chance that you shouldn't be able to get this together, get us to the 30-point games again. But I got to see it, man. I got to see this run game. I got to see this pass game be more consistent. And yeah, just like the big fella said, when it comes to what we're getting out of Dan Quinn, yeah, man, during those San Francisco games, you got to show up too. And I know that there was definitely moments, and if we get into that, we'll have a whole nother hour-long show. But damn it, sometimes it is what it is. And when you let up 40, it's hard to defend you. So take that with how you will. Chris, correct. Close us out on that one.
Correct. No, I 100% agree with you. And, just a quick side note. I talked about this on my Instagram story today. Holding everybody accountable is a big thing for me. Because football is a sport where you need, like, if somebody's screwing up, they need to be held accountable. Regardless of what they did for you in the past, going forward, they need to be held accountable. Dan Quinn needs to be held accountable. So does the defense. And I understand they played really, really well against the Chargers. And say what you want about the Chargers as an overall team, they were a really good offense going into that game. And
they're a good team.
Dan Quinn
they just have a bad record.
Yeah, I agree. Dan Quinn and
that
that
team with a
did
bad record.
Really good things. They got to clean up on these penalties. But my thing was stop blaming everything on Dak. That was just a quick side note. We talked about we got to start holding Dan Quinn a little more accountable when it comes to these situations. I just wanted to make a quick side note of that. My expectation. Look, this is a better roster than it was last year. So to me, my expectation is NFC Championship game, at least. You got to get to that championship game this year. If you don't get to the NFC Championship game, the better roster than what you had last year in maybe it's a little bit of a better conference, not by much. Nothing that you shouldn't be able to handle. If you can't do that, I mean, there's going to be questions after the season. And even though I do believe that Dak ends up getting that contract. I mean, that $60 million cap hit is just crazy. That's ridiculous. And you're not going to find a quarterback that's able to do the things that Dak is able to do as easily as people may think. So, I think there's going to be questions about the quarterback, but I think those questions will be answered fairly easily. And that's just from the front office perspective. That's just talking from their perspective. I'm always down to explore different opportunities, but front office is stubborn, but that's besides the point. There's going to be a lot of questions asked about the quarterback, about the coaching staff, about the personnel on this team, from top to bottom. Not the owner and the GM, because we all know they, in their eyes, they can't do anything wrong. But from everything from head coach to the last spot on that practice squad is going to be in question if they can't get to the NFC Championship game. To me, no excuses. Even if you go up against the 49ers in the divisional round, if you get there, which I think you will, we're seeing these last 2 weeks, the 49ers are beatable. And the fact that they did that to you is kind of annoying. And it
was really annoying.
So to me, the expectation NFC Championship game right now, and anything after that we can talk about once we reach that game. But to me, I just can't say Super Bowl, because we got to get to the NFC Championship game before we can get to a Super Bowl.
I like it. Rams next week coming into AT&T. What do we think? How we win this game? What are the predictions on the game? How do you feel about the game? Is it a trap game considering we got Philly next week? Are they going to show up? Is Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp going to light us up? Because Lord knows speed receivers have been our kryptonite in the past.
You want this, big fella?
Sure, I'll take it. Man, it's simple for me. This is going to be a game that the defense has to show up, okay? Because the Rams can't run the ball. They proved that. They're going through a couple running backs right now. Their only offense is their passing game. Cooper Kupp and I keep forgetting the kid. You said his name, but it's
Puka Nacua, and they lost
yeah.
Kyron. They lost
Puka.
Kyron Williams, which is a huge loss for them.
Yeah, so old Puka and Cooper, are going to be their key weapons right now. So basically, it's going to be a defensive game for me. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, honestly. But then on offense, of course, we want to see that explosiveness. We want to see the Cowboys take advantage of the Rams. I mean, the Rams aren't the Super Bowl champion Rams anymore. They have deficiencies all over the field, and I'm looking for our coaching staff to pick those out and exploit those. Because this shouldn't be no trap game. There's no more trap games left in the season. There's no more trap games. We can't afford to just give away games. We can't.
Yep.
Okay, we picked up one, but we need to take care of our own business. And right now, our business is the damn Rams at 12 o'clock on Sunday. We need to handle the Rams, and we'll think about Philly later. Okay, because it's coming. Philly is coming, but right now, my whole focus is on those Rams.
Correct. No, I agree with that. No more trap games in this schedule. This team's got to be locked in every single Sunday. Don't worry about Philly. You'll worry about them when you play them. No, I'm dead serious. You'll worry about them when it's time to worry about them. Worry about the damn Rams. Yep. Stop looking ahead. Take your opponents seriously, regardless of who you're playing. Rams have some talent on that offense.
Yes, they do.
That if you don't take seriously, they're going to take the top off your defense.
100%.
Just keeping it real. They're going to take the top off your defense if you don't take them seriously. To me, I go back to last year. I saw what this team was able to do with Cooper Rush as their quarterback, with, to me, a roster that's not as good as this roster. Okay? So anything less than the Cowboys getting a win is going to be a big problem. It's going to be a big problem. Big fella, I agree with you. No more trap games. I don't want to hear that damn excuse. And look, one thing that I want to see is you better clean up these damn penalties. You better clean up these damn penalties.
Penalties are ugly.
You better clean them up. And especially going into Philadelphia with the way they called that game the other night, you better hope they don't get that officiating.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so clean up your damn penalties. This is something that's been happening for 3 years now. I'm looking at Mike McCarthy. I'm looking at Dan Quinn. because, again, we're going to hold Dan Quinn accountable because the defensive side of the ball is his side of the ball. Everybody says we have 2 head coaches on this team, Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn. But when the penalties happen on the defensive side of the ball, everybody wants to look at Mike McCarthy and say, oh, well, you got to fix the penalties. No, Dan Quinn does as well. 12 men on the field. And remember, in that Chargers game, that got called twice. Or no, it got called once. And then there was another play.
No, yeah, it was like back to back. I remember pitching in the stadium. Like, really? Y'all don't know how many players you got on the field?
Exactly.
Like,
that's coaching.
In a row.
That's coaching. So to me, when it comes to this Rams game, look, I'll get into it. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, we all know about them. Aaron Donald, we know about him. Stafford, you got to get pressure on Matt Stafford. And if that means sending more guys to blitz than you usually send, because the Cowboys are a team that likes to rush with 4, forget all that. Blitz Matt Stafford. Get him under pressure. Because when he's under pressure, his completion percentage is 38%. Get pressure on Matt Stafford, whether that's blitzing 5 people, whether that's blitzing
those picks.
Get pressure on this guy. Don't just rely on your front 4. Send some guys and do it more than you usually do it, because this quarterback does not do well when he's pressured. So, when it comes to their rushing attack, the Los Angeles Rams, if you're able to contain Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, those guys, you can contain this rushing attack. Breece Hall, another guy that the Cowboys did very well against. You can do well against this rushing attack. So I like this matchup for the Cowboys because, the Rams are going to have to throw the ball a lot this game. Where do the Cowboys like being when a team has to throw the ball on them? Because then they can let that pass rush get off. So, again, no trap games, penalties, clean that up. I want to see continued improvement from this offense. I saw a lot of improvement in the passing game against the Chargers. Now, when it comes to this game, I want to see improvements in the in the run scheme. I don't want to see so many damn A-gap runs with Tony Pollard. You have the talent on this team. You have every type of running back you can ask for on this team. Figure it out.
It was like they got away from that golden gem that they found last week when you were pulling Tyler Smith like around the edge. Like, what happened to all that? What happened to seeing that? I love seeing that big fella run all the way down the field and just pancake the shit out of somebody. I don't know why they just got away from it. It was like you found something that was going to work beautifully for you, and you just decided, we're just not going to use this anymore. When it comes to this game, man, for me, it's going to come down to the trenches. It's really going to come down to making Matthew Stafford make mistakes, because these guys have speed on the outside. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are obviously Cooper Kupp is obviously the real thing, but Puka Nacua is looking like a stud. That kid is absolutely amazing. 150-something yards last week. Like, let's not get it twisted. They lost the game, but that man put up like 157 yards in the game. Like, he is dangerous.
He's incredible.
He is a dangerous, dangerous player, and absolutely better not take them lightly. The bottom line is, for me, man, we really need to start running the football and controlling the clock and just keeping that offense off the field and making Matthew Stafford make mistakes. Make Matthew Stafford throw interceptions. Make Matthew Stafford uncomfortable, and you will win this game. That's really going to be the bottom line for me, because if that offense takes off, there's no telling what they can do. Kyron Williams, like I said earlier, is a huge hit for them because that dude is a good runner. He's been having some great games, and the fact that he's not playing for them this week is a huge blow to their rushing attack, because their secondary and third string running backs are just not him. They're not him, and it looks clearly different. You saw that against the Steelers last week. But for them to win this game, it's going to come down to that, man. It's got to be done in the trenches. They've got to control the clock, keep that offense off the field, and make Matthew Stafford make mistakes. That's really what it's going to boil down to for me. That's how you win this game. I don't expect it to be super high scoring. I'm kind of with Chris on that. I think we're going to be looking at like a 24-10 kind of game, 24-13 kind of game. That's really what I expect. Cowboys should come out on top, and we'll get on ready for Philly. Big fella, what you got for the score of the game?
Yeah, man, I'm right on board with you on the score. So I got it low 20s. So let's say 23-13 Cowboys.
And Cowboys beat. Close us out.
And by the way, By the way, the Rams got a new kicker because they cut Britt Maher.
Oh, maybe Maher. God bless you, sir.
They got a new kicker this week, so their special teams and kicking situations may take a big role in this game also.
Well, I'll tell you this, boys, we know how you feel. So good luck with the new guy.
They might improve a kicker, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, that might be a problem, but still, like, it's gonna be first game, jitters, whatever. It makes me feel good. Beat, what do you got? Score of the game.
I'll go 23-10.
23-10. I like it. Well, guys, this was a hell of a show. This was a hell of a night. All of you, thank you very much. Little Zay, just so you know, you're an 8-9, 9-8 football team. Good luck with the rest of your season. How about them Pats, baby? Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate y'all. Like, share, follow. We really appreciate you, and we will see you next Tuesday, guys. Over and out, baby.
Next Tuesday. Yeah, make sure to hit end stream.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, you got to hit the end stream.
We got to do that, right?
See you next Tuesday.
That's right? Was I wrong on that?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I can end it now.
You don't get the joke.